Welcome back to the Affinity Learn As I Go channel. I may have started Blender, but I haven't forgotten about Affinity because if I don't keep at it, I will forget about Affinity. In this video, I'm going to make a design where I have dolphins popping out of waves. Here's the wave that I'm going to start off with. Right now, this is a pixel image, as you can see if you look over here on the layer, because right here is pixel. This isn't going to work for us. We're going to need to change this into a vector image, and I can do that by going up here to Vector and then selecting Image Trace. And then I'll get this image trace pop up, and all I have to do is to say apply. So all of our images that we use in this are going to have to be vector images, and you'll see that I'm going to be converting a lot of them as I go. So now, if you look at this caret drop down right here, you see that we have all the curves that are inside this image. So if I go over here and click on the node tool, I should be able to see every node that where I can adjust all the different parts. See when I click on these curves how these you can see these. But I'm not going to need all those. So what I'm going to do first is go back here and click out of this, and now I'm going to select this and I'm going to change the color to black. If I would have kept this as a pixel image, I wouldn't have been able to do this, but I want this whole wave to be black, and you'll see what I'm driving at as I move forward. Okay, now I'm going to adjust this a little bit because it's a little bit too big for me. We're going to have dolphins in here, so we need to give them room to swim. So I'm going to put this here, and then what I want is I want a duplicate image of this wave. So I'm going to go over here, and first of all, I'm going to change this to wave because we're going to have a few layers here, and I don't want us to get confused. So I'm going to right click on this and then hit duplicate. And if you're wondering where it is, it's right under here. All we have to do is move it over. And then I want it to be flipped in the opposite direction of the original one. So I'm going to right click and then go to transform, and then down here to flip horizontal, and it will flip horizontal, and all we need to do now is to adjust them to where we get one big wave. It looks a little bit like a bone in your back to me, where the spinal cord goes through. As you'll see, this will give us what we need as far as where I'm going with this. Okay, now, you still have all the parts of the wave if you need them, but we don't really need them. So I'm going to select both of these. And well, first of all, make sure they're in the right place because I'm going to select both of these and add them up. And when I add them up, I'll select them over here. I'm holding down the control key if you're wondering what I'm doing. Control key and select both of those. Then I'm going to go up to here to the geometry panel, the Boolean operators, and then I'm going to click add. And just like that, we get this one wave that is all in one piece. Now notice what's happened is we no longer have a drop down where we can see the little parts of our wave, but that's fine because we won't need to adjust any of the parts that were inside the wave. Okay, now one thing I want to make you aware of, just because we can't adjust those parts on the inside of the wave that I showed you, doesn't mean we can't adjust the wave itself. If I click on the node tool over here, you'll see that I have all these nodes, and I can click on the nodes if I want in order to change the shape of any part of my wave. So just to let you know that you have that available to you if you don't like the way your wave looks at first. Now I'm going to add a rectangle to my object. Right now my wave is on a transparent background and I don't want it to be that way. So I'm going to add this triangle and move it to the back. Of course, it doesn't do us that much good because it's all the same color. I'm just going to give it any kind of color. I don't really care at this point. I'm going to be changing the color of it anyway. And so at this point, it really doesn't matter what color it is. I just chose the first box up there so that I can see it and then I can see my wave. Now what I want to do is to add the dolphins that are going to be swimming around. So I'm going to go up to File and Place, and then I'm going to go out here to this folder that has dolphins, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all my dolphins and pull them all in so I can place them. So there we have them all, and then I'm going to open. And what happens is this little thing up here appears. So I'm going to go over here and place that dolphin and place that one and then that one. Now don't worry about where you're placing them because you can move them around later on if you want to. And we're just going to keep placing them until we run out of dolphins. That's the way this is going to go. So more dolphins down here, more down here and there and up here. And so we're going to get all of our dolphins on there. And once this menu, this pop-up disappears, then you've got all of your dolphins. And you can move them around individually on here if you want. This one wound up being kind of scrawny. I'm going to be rearranging them later on, so it really doesn't matter where they are right now. And so, and as I say that, here I am arranging them like it's going to matter at this point. Okay, now what I want to do is I'm going to group them all together temporarily. This isn't going to be a permanent group. I just want to avoid confusion of having all these dolphins running, swimming around, not running around. So I'm going to select them all, and I'm going to right click, and I'm going to put group. And so now this is so much easier because I have this wave up here, I have this group down here, and when I open up the group, there are our dolphins temporarily in a group. Okay, now I want to use the subtract operator on these dolphins. Well, a few of these dolphins, because what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be moving some of these dolphins down here and subtracting it off my wave so you can see through the wave with a dolphin body in it. But it won't work unless I convert these dolphins to vectors. Now take a look over here. These dolphins are not vectors, they're images. So what I'm going to have to do is to do this one by one, just like I did my wave. And I'm going to have to select each one, and then like that, and then go up here and go to Vector, and then Image Trace, and then Apply. And now this dolphin has now been converted to a vector object. And if we open up our little thing right here, we can see that our dolphin has its little parts down here. So we're going to do that to each dolphin. We're going to select this next image and then go Vector, Image Trace, and then Apply, and then just keep going until all the images are gone. So now that you see how I'm doing this, I will come back as soon as I'm all done. Okay, now I think I'm done. I'm going to go and make sure that all of these have these little drop downs on them and that we don't, oh, there's one. Forgot to do that one. Vector, Image Trace, and Apply. Okay, we got rid of that one. Make sure we've got another one. I must have gone too fast and I skipped a few. I think there's about 14 of them. Okay. Okay, it looks like we have them all. Now the next thing I'm going to check, some of these aren't the right color. I made them gray for whatever reason. Oh, here's one. That one needs to be black, so we'll change that color. And this one, So all these need to be black. The reason they have to be the same color is because when I do my effects, I'm going to have these in a group. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my dolphins group and my wave so that they're both selected. So I had to press down the shift key so I would select them both. And then what I'm going to do is I want to add them together to where they're a compound group. I don't want to just add them, because if I add them, I'm going to lose everything that's in these drop downs for the dolphins and so on. So I want to press Alt, and then I'm going to press Add. And then what happens is you have this thing that pops up that is called compound. And this is the compound group. Now, we need to make sure that our group is inside the compound. So if you look at the compound group, you see that the wave is in there. And what I want to do is to pull the group, the dolphins group, and I'll make sure I select it, and make sure that it's inside the compound group. So now I have the compound group, I have the group of dolphins, and I have the wave. The rectangle in here, since it's not inside the group, is unaffected by anything that we do to the group. So notice if I close the group, it's all grouped in there. So there's our compound group. Now, I don't need the group anymore for my dolphins. It's kind of served its purpose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it, and then I'm going to right click on group, and then I'm going to ungroup them. So I just press ungroup, and now I have all my dolphins, and notice it selected them all, and my wave that's down here. So the dolphins are all on top of the wave. That's going to be important because we're going to be subtracting some of these dolphins off of this wave so that you can see through the wave with each dolphin. And the one that is, this is the wave right here, and the dolphin, if we selected this dolphin, the dolphin being on top, will subtract off of the wave if we move them down. Now, I will show you how this works. I'm going to select a group of dolphins, and I'm going to select this one, and this one, and this one. And then what I want to do is I'm going to duplicate them. So I'm going to right click on one of these that's selected and press duplicate, and then I'm going to move these 3 duplicated dolphins down here. So now I have them under here where they're going to be, and you're not going to see them. So that's why we're going to need to make sure that we know where they are. So right now we have these 3 that were moved down, and I'm going to take these dolphins and put them on top of the group of dolphins, like that. So now they're all on the top. That way we can remember where they are. Okay, now this is what we're going to do with our group of dolphins that we now can't see. I'm going to select each dolphin and then subtract it from this, the wave. So, and I can't do it in a batch. Like right now they're in a batch. So I'm going to just select one dolphin, and you can see where it is. It's right there. And we'll move it a little bit so it's on the wave. So I select that one, and then I'm going to go down here and press Control and select my wave. And then I'm going to go up here where this says subtract, and I'm going to punch subtract, and my dolphin will subtract itself from the wave. I'm going to go up here and do the same thing to each of these other dolphins. So I'll select the one on the top. That's why I moved these to the top of the stack, because you can't see these other 2. They're buried by the black. So I'll select the dolphin, this one, and there she is right there. And then I'm going to go down here, and then I'm going to Control and select the wave, and then I'm going to subtract, And there we have that one. And then I'm going to go up here to this one, which should be the last one, and I'll move it over because it looks like it's going to be off. And then I'm going to go down here, and then I'm going to control and select my wave and go up here and subtract. So now we have 3 of our dolphins that are subtracted. I'm going to do the same thing with these 3 other dolphins. So I don't want to move that. So I'm going to try to find the others. Okay, so I've got this one, this one, this one, this one. So I held down Shift and did that, and now we know which ones they are because they're highlighted. So all I have to do is right-click on one of them, and it will duplicate all 3 of them. So I'll punch duplicate, and then I'll move this set down here so we can squeeze it in there, and it will be right there. And then we can find out where our other dolphins are. There's 2 of them. Okay, and I think I messed this one up. I might have to delete one of them. Well, I'm going to go ahead and move these up so they're sitting on top of the group like that. And I had 3 of them. This is this one. Well, if I mess that one up, I am going to delete it. Yeah, because all I got was part of the curve. So we need to get rid of that one. Delete. Okay. Now we have this dolphin, which is right there. And we have to go down and select our wave. And you can tell it's still selected because it's got that rim around it. And then go up here to subtract and subtract it off. And then go up here to the next dolphin, and it's still there. And then we can go down here, control wave, and we can subtract that one. Okay, so since I lost my other, dolphin, I guess I could keep it like that. It really wouldn't matter. It'll still give you the point of what's going on here. I think it was this one. That's the one. Okay, so let me just right click, duplicate, move it down there, and then I can go down here, control and select the wave, and then subtract them off, and I've got my other dolphin. Okay, now that's how you get to this point where you have everything here. So we have our compound group, and we have our rectangle. Now, if you wanted to move these around, you still could. I mean, all I have to do is to open it up and then move around my dolphins. So you saw me do that. However, let's make this so this is a little less depressing. I never planned on leaving this black and gray. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a gradient. So we'll just, and I'm going to change this rectangle color later. So I'm going to click on the compound. Now remember, anything I do is going to affect everything that's in the group. So I'm going to go over here, click that, and then put down a gradient. There's my gradient. And then I want it to be linear. And then I'm going to go up here and I'm going to kind of pick a color. And come on. Color. Well, before I do that, I'll just pick it from over here. Okay, so what I did is I put the gradient on there, and then I went over here and I picked blue. I'm just randomly picking a color. Notice that everything has changed to blue because it's inside the compound. Now I can go up here and then make this whatever I wanted. So I'll go down here, and the color can be different. Why is my gradient not? Let's get rid of that. Okay, I've got that. Gradient. Come on, come on, come on. I'll get out of here. Oh, no wonder. It might be a good idea if I would select the compound. Okay, so I'm going to go up here and I wonder why this is like that. Okay, I'll put down another color, and then I can go over here if I want to and make this lighter, and I can maybe move this over till I get something like that, or I can go here and let's just pick anything. I mean, why be? Can do that. I can move this over, see if it changes. Make this a little bit lighter. I don't think it's going to be lighter. And do that. Just play with it until you get something that you want. So I'm going to leave it like that because I want to stop playing. And so just by adding a gradient, it changes everything inside the compound group. Now, another thing we could do is to add some effects to our compound. So clicking on that, I'm going to click here to get rid of our gradient, and then I'm going to go down here to effects, and so the effects bar, the effects menu opens, and I'm going to add an outer shadow. Now remember, you have to select the whole thing for it to work. So I'm going to adjust my radius, see how that works. It lifts it up a little bit. Let's take a look at the offset. Add a little offset to it. Maybe we can do an outer glow. Let's see how that works. Oh, maybe. Okay, outer glow looks all right. I can take that in doses. And now maybe, how about 3D? What does 3D get you? Oh, that looks kind of neat. If we increase the radius, oh, no. Small doses is right. Okay, but you see what I'm getting at. You can fiddle around with all these effects until you get something that you're happy with and kind of fits what you like to do. One thing I did was, and I'm not going to waste time by doing that, is on one of them, I changed the direction of all the dolphins so that they looked like they were like pouring out of the center of the wave on both sides. So I did that. You should be able to change these cutouts, but I have not been able to do that. So if you find out how to do that, let me know in the comments, and I'll just add that to my repertoire of things that I'm trying to learn. Okay, so there's our design all done. Give this a try on your own and let me know how it's going. And remember to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell to stay up to date when my next video drops.